I want to play, Steve Gonsalves. I can't say like he's my hero, but I admire the man. I think he's been really a stand-up guy during this, and he's of course the dad of Kaylee Goncalves, and he's been somewhat the most vocal of the parents. He doesn't speak for the other parents; he speaks for himself and his family, but he's been the most vocal. And I'm going to play a little bit of this from News Nation to get a sort of a view of how Steve Gonsalves feels about what's going on.
While it doesn't look like the crime scene photos are in this current batch of documents, do you plan to fight their release if and when that time comes?
Yeah, I believe all the families have let that be known to the prosecuting team that that's not anything that we were interested in. And we've been worried that we would see those leaked at any time when you had like certain stories and certain things been leaked since the very beginning. We were afraid that we'd wake up one morning and that may be on, might be on TV.
Yeah, Steve, I know there are people out there who want full transparency. They want to get every single aspect of this case. I do not see the value of that. I think that this is painful, it's gratuitous, it's disgusting. But for the people out there who want full transparency about this and say, I don't even know what the argument would be to see that. What would your response to them be?
You don't get that. Those are our children, and we're not settling for that type of thing. And I think it encourages. I mean, you got a whole show here with some people that are doing some terrible things to people, and that's one thing that
Yeah, I mean, how does the public demand full transparency in a case that has nothing to do with them? It happens to do with the families of these four kids: Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Zana Knodel, and Ethan Chapin. The families should have a say in this, not the general public. It's none of their damn business that they get transparency. This isn't a presidential race or a race or a government race or something the government's putting out there. This was a quadruple murder. You don't automatically get transparency, Mike.
Yeah, Bill, it's gratuitous. It's nonsensical. It doesn't give the public any more information than they already have. To see a picture of one of those kids slaughtered, you're going to have nightmares when you see that picture, and it's not going to increase your understanding of anything that you know already happened. Better to release reports that are redacted and limit it to that. And Judge Hippler could do that. He can order things redacted, things released. As we saw on that news program with the two female journalists right there in the studio, they said they'd already gotten 200 pictures, and there's more. And the ones that they've gone through, they've had to carefully select from that. So any more release, either intentional or otherwise by mistake, is just going to it's going to make it that much more likely that some station somewhere, some content creator somewhere is going to say they don't care. They're going to put up the bloodiest crime scene photographs that they possibly can just to stir up the public and get clicks. That doesn't help the public. It's not the intent of a FOIL request. And so I'm hoping Judge Hippler will be a tough judge and say, look, whatever, we're going to do this way, orderly, and you're going to get certain things, and then that's it. Nothing more. Everything else should be sealed.
Mike, I feel during this case, I felt intruded upon, if that's a word. I'm using my Manhattan street lingo. I felt intruded upon, let me say that, when the Howard Bloom was writing a book during the investigation of these murders. And then the week that the trial was supposed to start and KB took a plea, James Patterson slaps his book out. And this is what I foresee, guys, and I know I'm right. What's going to happen is either Howard Bloom, James Patterson, or a number of other journalists are going to be the first to go to that prison to interview Kohberger. And what do you think they're going to use those 200 pictures for? They're going to use them to refresh BK's mind as he tells a story about what happened, and they can use those pictures to say, do you recognize this room? Tell me what happened in this room. That is absolutely going to happen. Does the public deserve and demand that type of transparency? I say no. Mike.
Bill, we've gotten a tremendous amount of information already about this case, and to line the pockets of two writers would get an interview with Kohberger and put out a second edition to their book. That doesn't help the public. It's going to be emotional. It's not going to be an educational thing where, say, a psychiatrist interviews Kohberger and they write an article about how messed up his brain is, and what caused him to flip out. It's not going to help scientists understand anything. It's just going to be for the money. It's always about the money. And in this case, so much stuff has already been released. I think it's really, in a way, hard to get the toothpaste back in the tube, but I'm hoping Judge Hippler does what he can. But to grant, access to all this information and then have these people come visit him, I think would be a total disservice to the public, because you're just making him prisoner 163214. You're making him feel important, and he should feel like nothing but a crumb. That's all.
I think you're right. Gracia Serta, I hope I said your name correctly. Thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. They're not being respectful by showing crime scene photos, redacted or not. This was against the wishes of the families. Gracia Serta, you are 100% right, and I totally agree with you. I'll use a cliche. You're preaching to the choir, but you are, because I totally agree with you. Jacqueline Ha, good to see you. She says hello to Professor Mike and Sergeant Bill. Hello, hello, hello. Great to have you back. And folks, again, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, like us, share us, and make comments. We love when you make comments. It really helps to move the needle.